Everybody did that.
That's right.
It's my favorite.
Good morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting of the Development Committee of DuPage County for November 19th order. May we have a roll call, please?
Member Krajewski, Member Chaplin,
Here.
Member Guston,
Here.
Member Ozog,
Here.
Member Rutledge,
Here.
Chair Tornatori.
Here. My only chairman's remark would be to say goodbye to Member Chaplin, who
Oh,
has been with me for 12 years on this committee. We will miss you, but good luck in your new endeavors. Move on to public comment. Appears that we have one person for public comment. Public comment will have a maximum of 3 minutes. No new testimony will be taken. And Mr. Shinada, right me? Shinuda. Okay, you could stand right there if you wish and address the committee, please.
That's good. Yeah, you're good. Just
Yeah,
not.
that's fine.
Good morning, everyone. Ron Ishinuda for Construction Solutions. Appreciate your time today. I wanted to come in today to talk about my subdivision on Madison and 90th Street. We started this process a while back, and I just thought I wanted to come myself without an attorney. I thought it might be easier to get the point across as to what we're asking for. The property is really a unique property. It's on the corner of a major street with a house on there that is very, very dilapidated. The original intentions of the property owner from 50 years ago, or 75 years ago when the house was built, was to actually build the house on the second lot closer to Madison. If you look at the survey, the house is on the first half of the lot. So the second half of the lot, the one that's closer to Madison, it's completely vacant, there's nothing there. And it actually, this is the current house that's on there now. Very dilapidated, very old, and it really just makes the whole neighborhood look bad. I think it would be a gift to Burr Ridge and to the entire area to do something that's new, that's functional, something that makes sense, and something that would help the property values in the entire area. If that subdivision is granted, I would have two homes, I'd be able to build two homes, which will really double the taxes for the property taxes on those lots, which I think is beneficial to the area and to everyone. All the homes in the area, all those lots in Burr Ridge were actually ultimately subdivided, almost every single one of them. They all started out with, being 10 acres and very large lots. And today, I think most of them have been subdivided at one time or another. So this is a trend. This is what people want these days. Even as we speak, I took a picture of this on the way here. Somebody's subdividing across the street with Burr Ridge. And so what I would like to do is not going to take away from the area. It's not going to decline the property values. In fact, it'll enhance them. Most of the homes, I took pictures of the homes.
May I ask, ask you to conclude your comments, please, sir. Your 3 minutes is up.
I'm sorry.
Your 3 minutes is up. Can you conclude?
Oh, I apologize. Oh, okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, all the homes in the area are pretty similar. This is the lot. It just it's on the corner, on a major road. And everybody in the area supported what I'm doing. Every single person, we knocked on their door, signed a petition and said they're in support. They'd like to see something in the area that would be a gateway entrance to the entire neighborhood. And we have family that lives on the block. We just want to bring the rest of the family and have them be together. And I really just wanted to come and appeal to your sense of fairness and understand what we're trying to do. It's not something bad, it's something good. And it doesn't, all the homes in the area are similar to what is there now. If you look at the lots,
Okay, thank you, sir. I think your time's up. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, that concludes, does it not?
Yes.
Our public comment. We'll move on to the minutes of the meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of November fifth.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, the minutes are approved. Moving on to regulatory services. I'll entertain a motion to approve DCO 62-24 zoning 2459. Construction Solutions, the zoning board of appeals denied variation or reduced the lot size for two new lots. Required 1,000 square feet to approximately 16,555. 56 square feet for lot one and 17,788 square feet for lot two. And the second variation reduced the lot width for the two new lots from the required 160 feet to approximately 140 feet for lot one and 150 feet for lot two. The ZBA vote was to deny 6-0. Is there a second? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Or a second? There's a motion and a second. As we know, we take all our motions in the affirmative. Your packet, I think it was denied basically because I believe the petitioner used financial hardship as the basis for this petition, which is not a standard for variations. But Paul, did you want to address this or answer? Anybody have any questions of Paul on this? Yes, Member Ehrlich.
Thank you, Chair. So as I'm looking at the aerial of this, Paul, if you kind of went up just a little bit more, because it doesn't look like there are any lot sizes. This looks like the smallest lot in the area, and then we're asked to subdivide it too. So I'm just curious if there are like sizes, maybe outside of the aerials that we're getting.
So there are three areas that are similar in size to what the petitioner is proposing. The first area is two houses just to the north, where the property was divided several years ago, and a portion of that property was taken into Burr Ridge. So you can see on your maps at the southeast corner of this quadrant, two lots to the north, there is a similar sized division of land, but that was done by the village of Burr Ridge. And then further about a mile to the north, there is a subdivision in incorporated Burr Ridge that has lots that are similar in size to what's being proposed. And then further to the south, about a mile in the unincorporated area, there are neighborhoods that are similar in size to what the petitioner is proposing. But in the immediate area, there are no properties other than the two lots to the north. There are no areas that are similar in size that are being proposed. In fact, all the adjacent properties are the same size as what the property owner has currently without subdividing the property.
Thank you, Paul.
Member Custis.
With that being said, I think I read in the documentation that Burr Ridge, their PZC or whatever, denied this development. And can you speak a little bit to why? Because you're just now saying that Burr Ridge has similar lots that have been subdivided, but yet this one has not.
So the village of Burr Ridge, when they first incorporated back in the late 50s, early 60s, did allow smaller size lots, 10, 15,000 square foot lots. But in the last 10 years, they've changed their zoning code to allow for minimum lot size of 1 acre lots. So the lots that the city of Burr Ridge has allowed in the past were permitted under the city of Burr Ridge's zoning regulations. But as of the last 10 years, there's been no new development of that size in Burr Ridge. So the reason Burr Ridge is objecting is that it doesn't meet their current zoning code. Even though they have existing lots out there that are much smaller, but those were done many years ago in the village of Burr Ridge.
And may I follow up? How is this, how does this compare with the county's vision for more obtainable or affordable housing? The younger people tend not to want bigger lots anymore for the maintenance portion of it. Does this kind of reflect that, or did the board say no on the county level because they didn't take that into consideration? It's just more.
Well, this is not antithetical to that now. And the reason being is that this is unincorporated Burr Ridge area. These lots are zoned in the R1 single family zoning district. They're zoned incorrectly. There's no question about that. But this neighborhood, this area in Burr Ridge was originally zoned R1 because these were large estate lots. To the west, there are large estate lots that are 2.5 acres in size. And over time, these R1 zoning lots have been annexed into the city of Burr Ridge and they've been developed to smaller lots. But in no instance have they been, in this immediate area, have they been developed to lots that are what would be considered urban lots, 10, 15,000 square foot lots. These are all lots that are pretty close to 40,000 acre foot lots. So they're rural estate lots. So in this particular area, people are looking for lots of the size that this current lot is right now. There are other opportunities throughout the county to sort of have the goals of the county relative to workforce housing and missing middle housing. But down in this area, these, even if you were to have smaller lots, the houses on these lots would be $1 million, $2 million homes just because they're located in and near Burr Ridge.
Thank you.
Anybody else? And nowhere in the petition was there an indication that there's gonna be affordable housing. Correct. Just for the record. Okay, anything further? Okay, we have a motion and a second, to approve this. This was denied. Both of these were denied by the zoning board of appeals. Let's take each variation separately, if you will. Let's take the variation, reduce the lot size from 100,000 to 16,556 and 17,788 first. Roll call, please. An aye vote will overturn the zoning board of appeals, and no vote will approve it.
Member Guston,
Pass.
member Rutledge,
No.
member Chaplin,
No.
member Ozog,
No.
Chair Tornatori,
No. That variation fails. Moving on to the second variation. We'll entertain a motion to approve the variation, reduce the lot width for the lots from 100.
Member Guston passed on her vote during
Okay,
the.
Member Augustine, you're right.
No.
No, I'm sorry. The second variation is to reduce the lot width for the two new lots from 165 to 140 and 150 for lot 2. Again, the same, and no vote will sustain the zoning board of appeals decision. Roll call, please.
member Guston,
No.
member Rutledge,
No.
member Chaplin,
No.
member Ozog,
No.
Chair Tornatori,
No, and the motion fails. Moving on to item 6B, I have been advised that the petitioner has withdrawn this or pulled it from the agenda, so leave the body, we will withdraw item 6B. Moving on to item C, I'll entertain a motion to approve 24-3073.
So moved.
Second.
Safeville LLC, purchase order decreasing the amount of $100,270 and closing due to expiration of the contract. There's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve 24-3074 TPI Building Code Consultants, purchase order decreasing the amount of $50,000 and
Second.
closing due to expiration of contract. There's a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve 24-3075 T-3-24 proposed text amendment to the county zoning code relative to principal arterial family dwelling conversion use. Requesting a public hearing before the zoning board of
Second.
appeals. So motion and a second. Paul, I think we read the packet, but if you just want to give us a real brief synopsis of what these text amendments are.
So these are a continuing effort as part of our work ad hoc housing solutions program to scale up more opportunities for people to have more units in the county. About 20 years ago, dealing with an issue where unincorporated residential property on major roadways, we call them principal arterial roadways. Those are roadways that carry 25,000 movements a day or more. Those are typically your state routes, going from east to west, Route 83, 53, 59, north, I'm sorry, yeah. I guess it's east to west. And then north to south, going from Irving Park Road, Lake Street, Army Trail, North Avenue, Ogden, big roads, major roadways. We still have remnant single-family homes on those major roadways. And they're impacted not only by the roadway, but they're also impacted by municipal annexations, where municipalities have annexed residential properties, torn them down and built anywhere from new apartment complexes, new retail, and even commercial and industrial developments, especially on North Avenue. So what happens is these remnant pieces are just sort of let out to the wither on the vine. And we found that they essentially become problematic problems in terms of properties, in terms of code enforcement. People are running businesses out of there, they're having multifamily uses in there, and we're having to go after them through code enforcement. They don't take care of their properties because there's really no incentive to take care of them. And there doesn't seem to be any hope for these properties to be annexed into municipality because there just aren't enough of them. They're remnant properties. So what we did with a zoning proposal several years ago was create the principal arterial office use where you could go in and run an office out of the home without rezoning it. Because rezoning was problematic as well, because the municipalities would reject, neighborhoods would reject, things like that. So what we found is that people could come in and run offices out of those homes. And in return, what the county found is that we didn't have a code enforcement issue anymore. People took care of their properties, they took care, they painted them, they put new roofs on them, they landscaped them. The activity was relatively innocuous. So it's actually worked out very, very well. Several of these properties that have been converted to offices were clean and lean properties as well. We're proposing to do the same exact thing with being able to convert a single family dwelling, which these properties are, into a multifamily dwelling. They'd have to meet all of the other codes, building, stormwater, health codes, fire, life safety codes, just as the principal office use has to do. But we think it gives an opportunity for these marginal pieces of property that we're babysitting anyway with code enforcement efforts to convert into 2 units as opposed to 1. We think it would incentivize people to take care of these properties a little bit more. Some of the major components, as I said before, they have to meet all other codes, is that you can only convert into 2, no more than 2. One of the residents has to be the owner, and that's similar to what we have with office. The office conversion has to be the owner of the property as well. And the reason for that is that we want someone to take ownership and take stake in the property, be a manager of the property while they have the opportunities to have the second unit. Right now we're proposing that it would be an existing conversion of the house. You couldn't tear the house down and build a brand new 2-family unit. You could do that anyway right now by coming in and asking for zoning relief. But once again, that's a little bit problematic. This would be an opportunity just to convert as of right, come in, get your building permits, meet all the building, stormwater and health codes, but allow you to go from 1 unit to 2 unit. All of the zoning codes apply, setbacks, parking regulations, so on and so forth. Yes.
So I'll start with number committee. Okay,
Okay. Any guesstimate how many units this might entail?
How many could be created?
Yeah.
Hundreds. Yeah, we have multiple single-family homes on these major arterial roadways.
And is this only on arterial road, county, or would Roosevelt Road, a state?
It would be any principal arterial roadway.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be a county roadway.
No, it doesn't have to be a county road. In fact, most of them are not county roadways. Most
Okay.
of them are state roadways.
Okay,
But it'd be any principal arterial roadway where the property it fronts on the principal arterial roadway, takes direct access to the principal arterial roadway. So you could have a situation where you have a corner lot and the property qualifies, well, it appears to qualify because it's fronting on the arterial, but the access is off the side street, that property wouldn't count.
so it has to have access.
It has to have
Okay.
access.
But it would only be the arterial roadways that were designated in the package. right?
Correct, and those are the arterial roads, and we've indicated what
The major.
arterial, the major roadways.
Thank
yeah.
you.
We did that as part of the office use as well. We added 1 principal arterial from the original principal arterials that we've itemized in the office, and that's Lamont Road. Lamont Road, when we originally did this, wasn't carrying 25,000 movements a day. It does now, but that's the only other road. And that's a county road, for instance, but all the other roads, for the most part, are state
Okay.
roads.
Thank you.
Member Rutledge, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I've got a problem with the owner occupied because my feeling is that on all of these major arteries, that those are probably already rental homes to begin with. I can't imagine there'll be a whole lot of them that are owned and lived or occupied by the actual owners. Any guess on that?
Our experience is the code, through code enforcement, the code violations that we've issued where we're having problems, 95% of them are owner occupied. We issue violation notices to the owner and the owner either shows up and we have the owner in court. So while that's not a metric that, or data point that we've studied, just from that, anecdotally, I guess, we think that the majority of them are actually going to be owner occupied. just based on what we found with code enforcement.
Defer to the committee.
Thank you, Chair. So I approve, I support this. I think it's a great idea. So, but what's the reasoning why they can't tear it down? It just seems like to try to convert maybe a single family home into 2 units, it might be easier and more logical, I guess, to tear it down and build something that's maybe has 2 units equal in size.
Understood. The rationale for it is that if we were to allow someone to tear something down, then we're getting into a rezoning from single family to multifamily. And now we're actually, creating a building on a property that wasn't there in the past and would be built and look like a multifamily unit, which could cause some issues with neighbors and also could cause some issues with municipalities. In a similar manner, in a dissimilar manner, we've had great success with our principal arterial office program.
Sorry.
We've had it going for 20 years and we've had people convert single family homes to office uses. And in no instance has a municipality objected to that. Quite surprised that a municipality hasn't even raised a red flag saying that you're basically taking the municipality out of the ability to weigh in on a rezoning because you're converting from single family to office. That in some people's minds is a conversion without, the county going through a zoning process. So that the program seems to work and part of the reason it's working is that we're taking dilapidated properties and we're getting them cleaned up and the end product is actually a better user and not really having an impact on municipal development that's flanking these properties. In addition, it doesn't foreclose on, doesn't completely foreclose on a municipality from eventually annexing that property and then tearing the building down for some future use. If we were to start from scratch with a brand new building, the cost of building that building might be more expensive and the look of that building might be more in tune with a multifamily. It might be more difficult for a developer to come in and say, well, I want to take that property and several other single family properties, buy them all up, tear them all down and annex in and do some development in the city. So the idea here is it's just to kind of clean up dilapidated properties with another use, a use that the county board has indicated we sort of need in the county in terms of scaling up more units without really foreclosing on these properties being redeveloped in a municipality or redeveloped in the county in a future date. That's really the rationale.
So if it's a conversion, so could you almost like double the size of a single family house? You can't tear it down, but can you?
Can't add on to it.
You can't add on to it,
Take
okay.
the existing house and you convert it into 2 units. That's the idea.
Good.
And so you're not adding any new building. You're not adding, all you're doing is you're taking the inside and you're converting it to 2 units.
Okay.
And that way, similar to what we did with principal arterial offices, you're not adding anything on the outside that people aren't used to, who live next door to it. They're used to seeing a single family house, and in most instances, that single family house and the environs are not being taken care of. Now, like we have with principal arterial office, those property owners will see the same adjacent property owners will see the same single family home. It'll be cleaned up, it'll be painted, might have a new roof put on it, and then the landscaping might be taken care of in a much better fashion than it was before, but no increases. So the idea is that similar to what we had with our ADUs, where we were allowing people to convert an existing detached building to an ADU. The adjacent property owners were familiar with that existing detached building, so it wasn't new to them. It wasn't something that was foreign to them, it was already existing. Similar to this is that adjacent properties, owners and adjacent municipalities are familiar with the house that's on that property now. And we're thinking that we'll get that property cleaned up and at the same time, we'll get 2 units out there, scale up more units. That's the reason why we chose this route instead of allowing people to tear it and build brand new.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that's an important question and answer because I was gonna ask a similar question, but basically the conversion is getting a new way to get in and out of the house, essentially. I mean, you're gonna have 2 separate entrances at some point, but realistically, it's not gonna change the look of the house, which isn't gonna ruffle any feathers of the neighbors, so to speak.
2 ways in, separate entrances and a kitchen. probably. That's really all we're talking about.
A quick question, I don't have a problem with this. The one thing I'm thinking of though, like Route 59 and, 85th, 87th down there. There's a lot of commercial going in on Route 59 and commercial, and then typically you'll have condo or apartments, and then you'll have single family homes. That's typical good planning, right? Proper planning. But obviously, some of those homes have been there a long time. Some of those parcels actually have single-family homes with businesses on them. However, right next door, there's a commercial property that wants to go on a commercial user, and they come up against a lot of opposition. And so my question is this gonna be a benefit for future development, commercial development, because that's good for our schools. They don't bring any kids, but they bring the tax dollars. Is that going to influence that at all? Maybe making that property a better use for that owner and a more improved use for that owner. So that means more dollars. So in turn, they wouldn't end up selling to a typical commercial user for commercial use on a collector road. Well, this is a collector road. These are major arterial roads. So I'm kind of trying to figure out if it's gonna be good for modification and increased development on those roads, more on the commercial vein, or if it's gonna stymie it a bit because people now have an additional way to generate revenue.
So what you're talking about is ground zero for this whole concept. This is where we came up with the idea at 59 and Route 87, or not 50, not route, but 59 and 87th Street. You have White Eagle Club, which is on the southwest corner of that intersection, which is their swimming pool and retail, and behind it, single family homes.
Right.
On the southeast corner, you've got commercial development. And then on the north west corner, you've got Calvary Church. And just to the on the northeast corner, that's where you've got these single family homes. And these single family homes were sort of left out there because there was a ton of development that came down off the Ogden Avenue and 75th Street, commercial development, big box development. And these 5 or 6 pieces of, actually, there's 8 of them, these 8 properties. Someone tried to buy them and they held out as single family homes. And because they held out, it didn't go with the rest of the crowd. They're left out there by themselves. And over time, what happened is that some of the people who lived in those houses, they just got older and they couldn't take care of them. Some of their spouses passed away. They couldn't take care of the houses. And what was happening is people were buying them to live in them, but running businesses out of them. And so rather than fight them constantly in court, we decided to come up with this program, and it's worked very, very well. Now, because you have a chiropractor down there, you have an insurance agent, you have a podiatrist down there, and you have a couple of other office uses. Some of those properties have actually they've cleaned their properties up, but some of those properties have actually have sold to developers, and now we're actually working with one right now. And the developer is willing to buy those properties. The fact that they're cleaned up and they're office use hasn't foreclosed on someone coming in and buying that property and some properties at the corner. And we have a developer coming in with a potential housing solutions program. The point that I'm getting at is that doing this type of zoning change hasn't stopped developers from buying these properties up, hasn't foreclosed on them, because now have more value associated with them. Because they're individual lots, they're still able to be purchased, which they already have. So I don't think that having this type of development is going to foreclose, because it hasn't before foreclosed on larger developers coming in and buying these properties up. We saw a similar type situation just recently on 75th Street, just east of Napier Boulevard, where one of the properties was a office conversion in a home. Developer came in, bought that property and bought 2 other properties, and is now poised to tear those down and put up a coffee shop, a daycare center, and storage facility. So, history has shown us that your concern, while it really hasn't borne out, because even though these properties are cleaned up and people are able to use them for a short period of time, it hasn't stopped developers from coming in and buying them up, because the value of the property hasn't gone up exponentially the fact that it get to the point where it gets too expensive to buy.
Thank you.
Anything further?
I have another question.
One more.
Thank you, sir. So the owners of these homes could actually come in, take out permits for an addition.
Only
And Ed,
existing house
I
interior.
get that, but if they took it in a two-step process, would that not skirt that?
So one of the proposals we have, similar to what we had with the ADUs, is that the user would be able, or the property owner would be able to do this for an existing house as of the date of the ordinance being approved. So let's just say this goes through zoning entitlement. Incidentally, it'll go through the zoning board of appeals, come back to this committee and go to full county board. Let's say it gets done by the end of the month or end of the year. We know it's not gonna happen. Let's say December, 31 is the date. Any property or house that existed before December 31, 2024 would be eligible. Anyone after would not be eligible. So if you came in and built an addition on your house in January of next year, you would not be eligible to be
What
involved.
if I
with this
did it
program.
2 years from now?
Same thing,
Okay.
because the addition, at any
you could
time
live
after,
there, you could live there with the addition, you just couldn't have two homes.
couldn't have two homes,
Two
yeah.
residents.
Couldn't convert it.
Just trying to see if there's a two-step
Yeah.
way to get
Yeah, you
around.
could always.
It'd only be convert existing as of the date of approval by the county board, similar to what we did with ADUs.
I-
And once again, the idea there is that the people who live next door, knew what the building was there already. There was no addition to it.
Yeah, I know we've got an 11
Real
o'clock
quick,
plat
I know,
meeting, so I'm trying to get out of here, but go ahead.
Quick thing, how many properties will this affect? Because you're saying no addition, no changes, maybe an additional door here or there. How many of these do we actually have that would be able to actually
That
fit
convert.
under
I
this?
can get you those
change?
numbers. They would probably be in the about 1,000 or more. I can get you the exact number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, thank you,
All right.
Chair.
Anyone else?
Then,
Okay, we have a motion and a second in discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Any old business? Any new business? I'd be remiss if I also didn't say goodbye to member Guston. Thanks for sharing your time with us.
Absolutely, it's
See
a
you soon.
pleasure, it's been a pleasure working with everyone, thank you.
Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you all.